Hello, once again welcome to Mathline channel. In this channel you will be getting a basic maths lesson every week. Those who have not watched the previous lessons, please watch from the beginning for better understanding of new lessons. So today I am here with a new topic, that is properties of congruence. Last class you have studied properties of similarity. Here we will study what are the properties of congruence. Congruence means what are congruent figure? Figures having same size and shape. Also you studied condition for congruence in triangles. Also test for congruence. Now here we will study the properties of congruence. Here consider the triangles first. So here the first property is triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABC. Only one triangle is there. What it mentioned? Every triangle is congruent to itself. There is no doubt for that. Every triangle is congruent to itself. This property is known as property of reflexivity. Clear? Next one. If triangle ABC congruent to triangle PQR, then triangle PQR congruent to triangle ABC. Here there are two triangles. What is given? If a triangle is congruent to a second triangle, then the second triangle is congruent to the first. Two congruent triangles are congruents of each other. This property is known as property of symmetry. Next one, there are three triangles. If a triangle ABC, it is congruent to triangle PQR, and also triangle PQR congruent to triangle LMN, then triangle LMN congruent to triangle ABC. That is, if a triangle is congruent to a second triangle and the second triangle is congruent to the third triangle, then the third triangle is congruent to the first, or first triangle is congruent to the third. This is true for when there are more than three triangles also. How it will be? If the third triangle is congruent to a fourth, and fourth triangle is congruent to a fifth, etc., then all these triangles are congruents of one another. This property is known as property of transitivity. So these are the properties of congruence. So what you understood from this? Same properties are there for similarity also, right? The properties of similarity and congruence are one and the same. All the three properties, reflexivity, symmetry and transitivity, are same for both similar figures and congruent figures. That is, not only triangles, every other figures, congruent figures having the property of congruence. For example, if it is line segment, every line segment is congruent to itself. If a line segment is congruent to a second, then the second line segment is congruent to the first. If a line segment is congruent to a second and second line segment is congruent to a third, then the third line segment is congruent to the first. So similarly, all the figures, geometrical figures having the property of congruence for angles also. Whereas in the case of similarity, only closed figure. For line segment and angle, we cannot say whether they are similar or not. In the case of congruence, line segment, angle, triangle, all figures, quadrilateral, etc. Any closed figure as well as other figures also. So in general, how we will say? First we will say the property of reflexivity in congruent figures. If reflexivity, how we will say? Every figure is congruent to itself. Symmetry, how we will say? If a figure is congruent to a second, then the second figure is congruent to the first. Transitivity, how we will say? If a figure is congruent to a second and second is congruent to the third, then the third is congruent to the first. In this way, for every geometrical figures, the property of congruence is applicable. Clear? That is all about congruence of or properties of congruent figures. So that is the end of the lesson today. Thank you for watching this lesson. Please share and forward as much as possible. Also subscribe the channel Mathline. See you next week with a new topic. Have a nice day. Bye bye. See you. Thank you.